this is why Lisp people, some Lisp people anyway, are fond of disparaging the whole idea of object-oriented programming by saying objects are just closures. What's a closure? A closure is a lexically scoped procedure. It's a procedure that remembers the local variables of the procedures inside which it was created. Right? In other words, going back to count 5 here. This method remembers, oops, here we go. This method remembers the local variables of this let and the local variables of this let because it was created inside of them. A procedure remembers the environment inside which it was created. In some ways, that's a disadvantage. Sometimes, we're going to talk about this later when we look at logo, which is dynamically scoped. Sometimes it's really convenient for a procedure to have access to the local variables of the procedure that called it, which is different from the procedure inside which it was created. Sometimes, putting that in environment diagram terms, it would be really convenient if, when we make a procedure call, the new frame that we made extended the current environment rather than extending what it does, which is the thing in the right bubble of the procedure. Right bubble of the procedure, that's lexical scope, that's scheme. Extend the current environment, that's dynamic scope, like logo. Sometimes that's convenient. But what lexical scope buys us, well, would be very little if we didn't also have lambda. The combination of lexical scope and lambda gives us object-oriented programming for free. So the reason Lisp people want to disparage object-oriented programming is, of course, that there are in the world object-oriented zealots who say languages that do functional programming, like Lisp, that's obsolete. The only good way to program is object-oriented programming. So the attitude that I would like you to have coming out of this course is neither object-oriented zealotry nor object-oriented disparagement, but rather to say, I know 2 different ways to program. It'll be more than 2 by the end of the semester, but I know greater than or equal to 2 different ways to program. I know functional programming, I know object-oriented programming, I know some other stuff that we'll get to. And therefore, I'm a better programmer than those people who are zealous about only one right way to do things. So if I'm writing something like a simulation or a window system where there's a bunch of independent things in what I'm modeling, then I'm going to say, oh yeah, object-oriented programming is perfect for that. If I'm in a situation where I'm looking for the answer to a question, and the answer is sort of timeless, it doesn't depend on what happened earlier in the computation, then I'm going to say, oh, functional programming is perfect for this. And it's parallelizable and all kinds of good things. Now, you can do window systems in a functional way, and you can do answering timeless questions in an object-oriented way. But you're a better programmer if you have more than one string to your bow. All right. So that's the sort of takeaway lesson about programming paradigms.